Silence your breath for a moment. Imagine standing alone before dawn, the air cutting into your skin, your body trembling not from weakness, but from truth. There is no audience. No applause. No escape. Only cold, darkness, and your own mind asking the most dangerous question it can ask. Will you step forward, or will you turn back? 800 years ago, Japanese warriors, monks, and seekers stood in this same moment. Not as a test of the body, but as a confrontation with fear itself. They did not call it motivation. They did not call it courage. They called it ritual. And if you understand this ritual, truly understand it, you will realize something unsettling. Courage was never meant to be found. It was meant to be forged. This is the story of the 800-year-old Japanese ritual designed to build unshakable courage. Not the loud kind. Not the reckless kind. But the kind that does not break, no matter the storm. Modern life has made fear invisible. It hides behind comfort, behind distraction, behind endless noise. Today, fear no longer looks like a battlefield. It looks like hesitation, procrastination, self-doubt, the quiet decision to delay your life until someday. The samurai faced arrows, blades, and death, but their greatest enemy was the same as yours. The mind that retreats before the strike. In feudal Japan, warriors understood a brutal truth. If fear controls you before the battle is already lost. So they trained courage long before it was required. Not through speeches. Not through affirmations. But through deliberate, voluntary suffering, performed daily, ritualistically, and in silence. This ritual was called Misogi. A purification through cold, exposure, and surrender. But to call Misogi a cold water ritual is to misunderstand it entirely. Misogi was never about water. It was about standing naked before fear, and refusing to look away. To understand why this ritual endured for centuries, you must first understand the Japanese view of courage. Courage was not emotion. It was not confidence. It was not bravery in the absence of fear. Courage was clarity under pressure. The samurai believed that hesitation came from impurity of mind, attachments, ego, uncontrolled desire, and the illusion of safety. Before a warrior could master the sword, he had to cleanse the inner battlefield. This is why Misogi was practiced not only by samurai, but by Shinto priests, mountain ascetics, and Zen practitioners. They stood beneath freezing waterfalls. They entered icy rivers before sunrise. They exposed the body to shock so the mind could be trained to remain still. Cold strips illusion. In cold, there is no pretending. No future planning. No identity to protect. Only now. And now is where courage lives. Miyamoto Musashi understood this better than most. Musashi, undefeated in over 60 duels, was not feared because of brute strength. He was feared because his mind did not shake. He arrived early, late, dirty, calm, never predictable, never attached. In the Book of Five Rings, Musashi writes that the way is found through deep observation and relentless self-discipline. He speaks often of enduring discomfort, of training when others rest, of walking alone when others seek company. What is rarely discussed is how Musashi trained his nervous system to remain calm in chaos. He lived exposed, to hunger, to cold, to solitude. He did not avoid discomfort. He sought it. Because discomfort revealed truth. And truth dissolved fear. Misogi was the embodiment of this philosophy. You step into the cold not to punish yourself, but to learn something precise. Fear is a sensation, not a command. Picture a young samurai initiate. It is winter. The water is fed by melting snow. His breath is shallow, his body tense. Every instinct screams retreat. This is the moment. Not the water, but the threshold. If he steps back, nothing happens. No one punishes him. No blade falls. Life continues. But something unseen is reinforced. Fear decides. If he steps forward, the shock is immediate. The body rebels. The mind panics. But then, something extraordinary occurs. After the first moments, the fear breaks. Breath returns. Focus sharpens. The mind enters stillness. This is not mystical. It is physiological and psychological mastery. The samurai learned that fear spikes, and then fades, if you do not obey it. This lesson, learned repeatedly, became unshakable courage. Not because fear vanished, but because it lost authority. The modern world has inverted this wisdom. We wait to feel ready. We wait to feel confident. We wait for fear to leave. The samurai never waited. They acted with fear, until fear learned its place. Misogi was not a one-time challenge. It was a ritual precisely because courage decays without maintenance. Just as the blade rusts without care, the mind weakens without pressure. This is why the ritual endured for centuries. Because it worked. Zen monks practiced Misogi to quiet the ego. Ronin, masterless samurai, used it to survive uncertainty. Shugendo mountain ascetics endured extreme exposure to dissolve identity itself. Different paths. Same truth. When you willingly enter discomfort, fear loses its leverage. This is the core psychological strategy hidden within the ritual. You do not eliminate fear by avoiding it. You eliminate its power by meeting it voluntarily. Consider how fear controls modern lives. Fear of judgment keeps mouths closed. Fear of failure keeps dreams small. Fear of discomfort keeps bodies weak and minds distracted. None of this fear is fatal. Yet it dictates lives. The samurai would find this incomprehensible. To them, fear was a training partner. If it appeared, it was an invitation. Misogi taught one essential lesson. If you can remain calm in the cold, you can remain calm anywhere. Cold does not negotiate. Cold does not care about your excuses. Cold demands presence. Presence builds courage. Let us speak clearly now, as master to student. Courage is not a personality trait. It is a conditioned response. The ritual conditioned the nervous system to remain functional under stress. Over time, the body learned. I can endure this. I will not break. Once this belief is embedded, it transfers. Difficult conversations become easier. Loneliness becomes quieter. Purpose becomes clearer. Because the mind has proof. Not words. Proof. This is why samurai philosophy emphasized doing overthinking. Thinking creates stories. Stories create fear. Action dissolves both. Misogi bypassed intellect entirely. It went straight to the core. There is a deeper layer still. Misogi was also a ritual of humility. Standing exposed before nature reminded the warrior of impermanence. Strength fades. Status dissolves. Only character remains. This produced a specific kind of courage, one without arrogance. Unshakable because it did not depend on identity. If you are insulted, it does not collapse. If you fail, it does not shatter. If you stand alone, it does not beg. This is samurai courage. You may ask, why cold? Why not pain, or danger, or combat? Because cold is honest. It does not injure. It does not kill when respected. But it strips comfort instantly. Cold forces surrender of control, while remaining safe. This balance made Misogi sustainable for centuries. The ritual followed strict rules. Silence. Early morning. Repetition. No dramatization. The mind was trained to face discomfort without story. This is critical. Fear grows through narration. Remove the narrative, and fear weakens. In battle, Musashi wrote, one must see what cannot be seen. This was not mystical. It was perceptual clarity under stress. Misogi sharpened this clarity. When the mind stops screaming, perception expands. This is courage's true gift. Not boldness, but awareness. Now understand this. The ritual was never meant to be copied blindly. It was meant to teach a principle. Voluntary hardship builds involuntary strength. The form may change. The law does not. You live in a world that avoids discomfort with surgical precision. Temperature-controlled rooms. Instant gratification. Endless distraction. And yet anxiety grows. This is not coincidence. The samurai would tell you. A mind never tested cannot be trusted. Misogi tested the mind daily. Let me speak to you directly now. You are not lacking courage. You are lacking training. You have been taught to wait for confidence instead of earning it. The ritual teaches the opposite. Act first. Calm follows. Imagine applying this principle. You wake before comfort. You choose difficulty before distraction. You enter what you avoid, daily. Not recklessly. Ritually. Slowly, something changes. Fear stops arguing. Doubt grows quieter. Your presence grows heavier. People feel it. Not because you speak louder, but because you no longer retreat. This is the inner samurai code born from the ritual. I do not wait for fear to leave. I do not negotiate with discomfort. I do not need permission to act. I face first. I think later. This code does not make life easier. It makes you stronger. The samurai knew something modern minds forget. Life does not reward potential. It rewards resolve. Resolve is built in moments no one sees. Cold mornings. Silent choices. Uncomfortable truths. When you stand at the edge, whether of cold water, hard work, or difficult decisions, the ritual lives. The question is always the same. Will fear decide, or will you? 800 years later, the lesson remains unchanged. Courage is not found in moments of glory. It is forged in private, repeated acts of voluntary difficulty. The samurai did not become fearless. They became unmovable. Return now to the beginning. You are standing before the threshold. Cold air. Quiet mind. No audience. This moment will define you more than any speech, any plan, any intention. Step forward. Not to prove anything, but to remember who decides. That is the ritual. That is the courage. And once forged, it does not break.